He wants to look tough, able to deal with any question that anyone throws at him. And then in terms of the messaging to Washington and Western European capitals, I think it is both prepared to compromise and extremely belligerent.
What is it? Which is it? Is this an opening gamut, or is this a really hard line and one that NATO cannot tolerate?
Andrea, I don't know. You don't know. President Biden doesn't know. I think even Putin's inner circle doesn't know. And that's exactly what Putin wants.
I will say this too, Andrea. All those troops on the border, it doesn't necessarily mean there will be an invasion next month. I personally think it's less likely right now. Clearly, Russia needs to look as if it's prepared and able to invade. That doesn't mean it necessarily will do it.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and everybody needs to be paying attention to what Putin has just done. He's preparing his country for war, and this has been a long time coming, and military and foreign policy experts are debating not if, but when this is going to happen. Now, I was an officer that had to prepare my company when it was time for us to be deployed, and I can tell you that that's what Putin is doing. He's preparing his troops for something. He invaded and illegally annexed Crimea with zero pushback from the international community. And I know people are going to say, Richard, how can you say zero pushback? That's all anybody could talk about for weeks when it happened. Sanctions were levied and Russia was kicked out of the G8. All of those things were a weak, very measured response that Putin took as a green light to move forward with his ultimate agenda, which is to rebuild the great Soviet empire. Vladimir Putin is a dictator, so he doesn't need anyone's permission to go to war. However, he does need his country's support. So what he is doing is painting a picture for the Russian people, showcasing himself and Russia as the victims and NATO, led by the United States, as the aggressor. Ultimately, we all know that that's BS, but the Russian people have been brainwashed by Putin for years now, and they believe anything he says, even if it's out of fear. Putin might just be the most evil person on the planet because he yields so much power and only uses it for destruction. The Russian economy is in shambles. They have no major experts outside of weapons, planes, oil, and vodka. And those are not my words, those are Putin's words. Putin's speech was also directly aimed at President Biden. He's sending a message, and President Biden will respond. And I guarantee you Putin will not like the United States response. Putin wants to weaken NATO, so we must strengthen it. And how do we do that? We use diplomacy. We sign more treaties with other countries. We expand NATO to include Ukraine. The bold leadership will show Putin the days of him terrorizing the world are over. President Biden needs to continue to let the Russian people know that they are not thriving because their leader chooses war at every chance rather than embrace the rest of the world. And enough with this old, outdated way of thinking and acting. Ukraine is an independent, sovereign country. Russia needs to respect that. And if they don't, there will be repercussions. Now, this is very important. The repercussions that I'm referring to are not military ones. I'm not talking about dropping bombs in Moscow. The only person that likes to drop bombs and kill innocent civilians is Vladimir Putin. Our repercussions come in the form of economic sanctions that will cause, unfortunately, great hardships for the Russian people. But it is Putin who leaves us with no other choice. So ultimately, it's the Russian people that need to stand up and scream with one loud, unified voice, no more war, we want peace. No more invading foreign countries, and no more proxy wars in the Middle East. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.